Welcome to Say It With Pride, a limited series podcast featuring honest conversations about the reality of living in queer Ireland today. We're sharing stories from across the generations, looking at what it's like living with pride in Ireland now versus how differently others may have lived it.
It's not a decision. Mm-hmm. It's not a decision for me. It's taken me, I didn't come out from my 20s to them and my 30s to the world.
Kicking things off, our very first episode features Sean Munsanje, a man who navigated the spotlight from the early days of TV3's Expose to the airwaves of FM 104, all while leading the way at Ireland's only LGBTQ+ radio station. Sean is joined by the legendary Joe Conlan, probably better known to the city over the past 14 years as the legendary Gaiety Panto Dame. New episodes of Say It With Pride will be dropping every Thursday over the next 4 weeks.
Of course I kissed her. I was like, you know what?
Oh my God!
I was like, fuck him.
Yeah.
So remember to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. But for now, relax and enjoy this conversation with Sean and Joe.
Well, how are you, Joe?
Hi, Sean.
I am so glad to meet you. I've been going to your Panto for so many years, and obviously I'm a big fan. My whole family are big fans. So
thank you.
Very jealous 10-year-old at home when I said I'm getting to hang out with you today.
With Nana.
With Nana. But sad, I'm dying to get into the chats because Nana no more. So I assume we're going to talk about that as well,
Yes,
which must have been one of the biggest decisions of your life.
Yeah, it was a hard call, but it wasn't a spontaneous call. It was a seed that was planted prior to last year's Panto, which was Beauty and the Beast.
Yes.
So that call was made during Cinderella. When I was thinking about it, won't I talk to the management inside? And then the email was drafted and pressed that send button and off she went.
It's gone. But well, last I heard, we're gonna have cards here to give us kind of cues on what to talk about. Last I heard, you're working with Brad Pitt, so life hasn't been too bad for you, Joe, since Nana. Do you know what I mean? Like your big sad sob story there.
Let's clear this up. Let's just clear. Brad and I.
Yes, Brad.
Oh God. I was among many actors on the set.
Okay.
So I was one of the head trees.
Okay.
Sharing the space with Brad. And it was finishing on the 18th of January in the Panto, and on the 19th of January being in rehearsals, and then a few weeks later on set with Brad.
Oh my God.
And it was a lovely experience.
I'd say
He was a lovely, lovely man. And everything they think or say or talk about, he is that. He's tall, he's beautiful, he's a wonderful actor. His time on set was great. The way he just took on the role, turnover, set, action, off he went. And off that, he was just normal. He was talking to everyone. 2 kids on set, 2 lovely children. The way he treated them, it was a lovely experience.
I'd say it was.
Yeah.
Few people get to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. What was your last gig? I was on set with Brad Pitt. Next.
Yeah. Well, speaking of next, will we pick up one of these cards and
Go
see
ahead.
what it says? Okay.
See what happens.
The first spark. Growing up, was there a specific spark where you realized you were different from the kids around you? And how did that realization change the way you moved through the world back then? Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a great question. The first spark.
Question.
So if I have to be honest, which I really will be, the spark was there from the start. And it wasn't a spark of glitter and cannonballs and all that. It was a spark of uncertainty. Why am I different? Why am I looking at people in a different way than everyone would in their way, but my way was slightly different. You weren't frowned upon, but you were slightly shunned, going, oops. I'm thinking of my mother.
Yeah.
Where she would say, oh, you're fine. You'll be grand. I'm a twin.
Okay.
So we were both adopted into this gorgeous house from 2 great people. And she would have been the one that would have minded me and guided me. And she knew I was different. So whatever happened outside that house, at that door, the uncertainty, the nervousness, when you went in that door, you were safe.
Yeah.
And that was great. So from where you were being brought up and in society in your time, how is that with you?
It's a bit funny. I think I always felt different, but I think I don't know what the exact point is. There's a couple of moments where I think I realized that difference is a problem, but I think I was always different. Like, so I remember I'd be at a football match, like my brother loved football, my dad loved football, and my parents would be there. And I remember they were all kicking the ball. I never really wanted, I hated football. I remember doing a cartwheel because I found that more interesting than playing the football match. And then the ball landed at my feet. I did this cartwheel, and literally then as I landed, the ball landed, and I was like, oh, geez, what do I do? And I remember thinking it was all hilarious and whatever. But afterwards, when you get the vibe off my dad, that there was a huge disappointment going on.
Yeah,
there was, and so points like that I look back on, and they stuck that you go, oh, so you realize there is something maybe negative about this difference, that kind of way. But I remember my granny was a great person though. My granny lived in East Wall. And we used to obviously go and see her regularly. And she just, for some reason, got me. My parents got me, and I have amazing parents and loved me. But when I came out, they were shocked. And I think I was really surprised.
What
date
was that, do you mind me saying?
That was when I was 23. So it was a while before I came out. But I remember going to my granny's one day, and I was begging. My cousin had this Barbie doll, and I was obsessed. I was like, so much fun. The two of us play with these Barbies, and I loved it. Great fun. I remember saying to my parents, can I get a Barbie? And they were like, absolutely not happening. And my granny, she just got me. One day she said, come on. And she took me into the toy shop, pick whatever Barbie you want, bought the Barbie, came home. My parents like couldn't do anything about it then, obviously. And they were actually okay with it. And the funny thing was, for them, I think they realized, actually, these things aren't, who cares? Because I played with the Barbie for about a week, and then I never played with the Barbie again. Do you know what I mean? So I think there was lessons for my parents, for me, but realizing I'm different. I think I always knew I was different, but I think there was points like the cartwheel or whatever where I went, oh, this could be a problem. And then once I hit my teenage years, obviously.
Wasn't your granny a very insightful woman?
Yes.
And ahead of her time?
She was.
Wasn't she?
And she was a cleaner in Dublin. She used to, and she used to do banks and all sorts, but she used to do David Norris's house. And we used to go, so I'd go with her sometimes when she'd be going cleaning. My brother would go. I just thought David Norris was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
He was such a character and everything. Yeah. And actually, even then, when I did my thesis in college and everything, I went back and I interviewed him as part of it. He's an amazing person. But seeing people like that, because then I did all my secondary school in Ennis and Clare, where there wasn't really any visible gay people in the 90s. So those people stuck with me because the gay people that were out were few and far between, especially those that had a positive impact on society and those that were openly gay in society. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think I was lucky though that decriminalization, I think, happened when I was about 13. It was just, things started to change where maybe there was some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, but it definitely took me a while to realize that there was going to be light at the end of the tunnel in my teenage years.
I never saw that light.
Yeah, so I
never saw that light. And that's very true of with your time. Okay, things are happening slowly. Your grandmother is supporting you. Here's the doll. Get over yourself. It's only a doll. Well, she saw this was fine. Society was starting to change, and she was aware of that. There's nothing wrong here. He's just a young lad. And where with my time, there was no doll. There was no light. There was nothing at the end of the tunnel to go to reach out to. And that's where I struggled, always looking over your shoulder. And even in my latter years, when deciding to go into a gay pub, thinking, if anyone sees me here or leaving, make sure it's dark. No one will see you leaving.
Will we go for another one?
Here we go. Let's see. The early Mask were both known for these big outgoing personalities today. But was it like that always? And was that always the real you? Or did you use that energy in school as a mask to protect yourself?
Well, for me, you definitely used the mask. Again, going back to, I think for most of primary school, I think I was just me. I think because kids don't care. They don't know anything else. I could be doing my cartwheels and could be having the crack. And I remember I was larger than life and I just loved every day and was mad and probably a little bit camp and crazy, but everybody thought I was actually, I loved school back then. But then when puberty hit, secondary school, I think I definitely
were you Christian Brothers?
No, it was a Catholic school. It was run by priests. It was called St. Flannan's College in Ennis and Clare. And actually, I got great friends. I was lucky. I did have good friends, and it was fine. It was an all boys school, Catholic school. But it was just having to suddenly you realize, and everybody I suppose has those awkward teenage years. But if you're gay on top of it, you are trying to fit in so much. And also, I was brown, so I was like, I was going into secondary school with this. Kind of just going, oh my God, I need to straighten my hair. Yeah. I need to, you know what I mean? Act straight. Everything was straight. Straighten my hair, act
here
straight.
We go, going to school.
And just be like, cool.
Yeah.
So it was all, and so I love music. I always love music. I ended up being a songwriter at one point.
One thing you said was, but you had friends.
Yes.
That's very important.
Very important.
And you support to those friends.
Yes. Now not obviously, but they didn't know I was gay till I told them when I was 23, I think, 23 when I told them. But they were amazing friends and all obviously didn't care.
Do you think they would have been aware of it?
I think some would.
Yeah.
I think some would. But I don't think that, weirdly, especially when I came out, especially one of my good friends was a bit of and like, so what?
Yeah.
You know what, like, because I
wow.
thought this would be, oh my God, I've lied to him for all these years when I had best friends, But he probably didn't know or had a suspicion. Didn't, like, what difference does it make to him? Do you know? He was, great friend. But the friends definitely got me through. But of course, it gets to the point then you're 15, 16, you're going out, and they're all starting to get girlfriends and kissing the girls at the disco.
Yeah.
And to fit in, I'm doing that as well.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of in this crazy thing in your head of, oh, hold on, should I be dating this girl because I don't think I'm actually into her because, but I was trying to deny myself as well. Maybe I'm bi. Maybe I'm,
trying to fit
all
in.
so confusing, all so mad. And I was, in the end, I just was dying to get out. I decided, I was in Ennis and Clare, as I said, so I just need to get to college. If I get to college,
I'll be fine. Identity.
I'll find identity. Yeah. Nobody here will know.
Yeah.
If I do end up coming out. You know what I mean? What about for you?
That was the total opposite, where my peer group would have been okay, but there were dark periods of the 70s and 80s, particularly the 80s. Dark periods in society, economics, Christian Brothers, Catholicism, someone mincing into school going, what's going on here, lads?
Mm.
So that was a struggle for me.
Yeah.
I was also very isolated, and that was my own fault. Because although I'd go in full of bravado, I'd pull back a bit, and some might have thought he's a bit of a loner. No, that was my choice. But when it came to music lessons, singing lessons, we'll go to the hall and be on stage. I found my mojo. I gone, hello, I'm grand here. And I could feel as a young kid and teenager going, I'm out of the environment that hates me most, and I hate it most.
It sounds like it's extremely. It sounds like I lived in a dream compared to you. Even though when I look back, I think mine is kind of great because some priests were lovely, but then there was some priests like one. I remember priests would disappear. Still, like as in, I can't remember his real name, but there was maybe I shouldn't say anyway. But there was a priest, and he came in one day, and somebody we were in school. Somebody walked into the classroom, and they said, "Oh, wrong classroom," and they left. And he was in the middle of the lesson, and he kind of carried on for about 10 seconds, and then you could see the rage. Just threw the book down, went up to your man and started beating the head of the kid for accidentally going into a classroom. And then one day, and he asked, he's like, I think he's gone to Paris from Florida or something. You're like, just vanished. You're kind of going, wow.
See where at that time it was addressed, but it wasn't addressed. It was hidden.
Okay.
Where with my time, they went to the parent-teacher meetings. They said nothing. They listened. So when your child is called stupid and will have no future ahead of them, what do you think as a parent? when someone in
And they'd say that at the parent-teacher
that's
meeting.
they said about me
Yeah, that's shocking.
as a young kid. But I wasn't aware of that as a young child.
Yeah.
But they find that very hurtful and offensive. And when I start to do well in life and progress and find my tribe, my mother would always say, God, you did good, didn't you? Of course I did. Why not? Fair play to you. Very subtle, but
That's so nice.
yeah.
So nice. It's like my parents were so supportive. Obviously, they didn't know I was gay, as I said, in my teenage years. But the one thing, a bit like you, we kind of have obviously different eras, but connections in that. I remember I really wanted to do drama. I love drama, and I couldn't in the school I was in. And I'd say I'm not slagging the school. I actually really enjoyed my school, St. Flans, but it was hurling or nothing. And I had come from a few years in England, so I'd done all sorts of swimming, athletics, whatever, but I'd never done hurling, so I couldn't play it. So I couldn't do any kind of sports. Not that I was dying to do them, but I really wanted to do drama. That obviously didn't do it there. So I used to get a bus to Limerick. My mother set it up. Somebody in work gave her this contact of like this drama school in Limerick. So I got the coach every Saturday on my own internet, which was like 40 minutes down to 30 minutes, something like that. And he used to walk down, go in, and it was my absolute
In that
release.
door.
I could just be me for an hour
I have
on a
arrived.
Saturday. I'm used to write a story, like a play every year, and then perform it for ourselves.
You were able
I
to be you.
was able to be me, and oh my God, it was like the best thing ever. But yeah, the drama, and but then I put it in a box, did it for a couple of years, and was like, well, that's not real. That's not a career. That's not life. I'll go off now and I just wanted to get out, as I said, so I'll go off and do computer science, and I'll be a straight person and survive somehow. You know what I mean?
I observed something recently in a young child in a classroom, in a hall. It was very flamboyant and out there. And no one bat an eyelid. No one. And I said to the teacher, isn't that great?
Yeah.
She says, I know what you're going to say, Joe. It is, isn't it? Absolutely, it's great. No one bat an eyelid. I went, well done, you. And I was
Amazing.
thinking of his parents.
Yeah.
Like, you've got great parents. They're just, off you go, off.
The reveal, okay. Was your coming out a big sit-down conversation, or did you just reach a point where you started living your truth without a formal announcement? That's a good question.
That's a great question. So, because here's a scoop.
Go on.
I've never come out.
What?
So, there's now.
You're not going to tell me you're straight.
Come on, the pool. Here's the funny side to it. I've never come out like. Don't say you're like. I'm a little bit light on my loafers sometimes, but I've never went to my parents and say, "Look, I need to talk. I'm gay." Probably my mother would have went. Andrew, next question is.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that I had to go and explain myself to people.
Okay.
And say, I am this. Now, there was also a fear of what my father would say, because he was a strong man. And I don't think he would have been able to cope with it. My mother, on the opposite side, totally different. So, whether I didn't come out because I had a fear, but I also feel that acceptance of me as a human being, as a person. So, hi, I'm Joe, and I'm gay. Right. I never felt just where nowadays it's fine. And they go to their parents and their partners or whoever, their guardians, whoever look after them. That if you want to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be validated or, people thinking, oh, right. And yeah, no, this is just me. Accept me as I am. I'm a jobbing actor. I'm a good person. I'm not a perfect person, but I'm a good person. So I've never said to my parents, you.
By the by.
I have a little bit of a thing to tell you. You know, the fairy on the top of the tree. So when my mother came to see me dressed as a dame, I think that might have validated. You know what I mean?
That
like
kind of gave it away.
That's my son. Isn't she? Whatever. You know.
Yeah.
I think, that would have validated it. My father, but that was those times.
Yeah. I think for me, I think I was probably shocked because when I came out, I think my parents were quite shocked. My dad is, I had a very strong father as well, and he's Zambian. So culturally,
Absolutely.
very different,
Yeah.
and homosexuality wouldn't really be accepted. So I think that was probably my greatest fear when I look back, even though I knew, like, my parents are amazing and have supported me in everything I do my whole life.
Yeah.
But I think underneath it all, even with friends, I think there's that bit going, what if I come out, or what if they find out even that I'm gay and they actually like reject me in some way, or my friends reject me? That was definitely my greatest fear. So I was away in France on holidays, and in my parents' house, the house over there, and I went with a couple of friends, and I don't know what happened that summer. I was 13, so it must be 1993. I went over, and when you've just had enough, and I'm nearly getting emotional talking about it now. It literally, I hit this wall. I'd been performing too long, I think, or I don't know what happened. I was out, whatever, had great times on nights out, drinking too much. Probably then my parents came over. So there's going to be this overlap of about 3 days while they were in the house and we were then going home. So we were going to go to dinners or whatever. And then we went out and I came home, went to bed. I got in like 3 a.m. with like 2 friends who were obviously were on holidays together. And then the next morning, my mum's, because she obviously had left out beer bottles or whatever. It's like, Sean, come down here. Came down. I'm hungover. I'm physically, emotionally exhausted. And she's like, yeah, what are you leaving everything in a state for? Da-da-da. And it wasn't about her giving out about me leaving beers. And I said, I just literally hit this wall and I just burst into tears and collapsed. And she was obviously so worried. She took me into her bedroom and was like, what's wrong with you? And I couldn't talk. And eventually, but only her could get it out of me. In fairness, that I just eventually went, I'm gay. And she was, I remember, it was the last thing she expected me to say. When you kind of are going,
yes,
she's going to be like,
come on.
Like, exactly like you're about, don't be, like, as we all know already. But she was really surprised. And then, of course, I was really petrified about my dad. And she was like, you need to tell him, obviously. And by the way, my 2 friends are upstairs in bed hungover. So it's probably the worst situation I could have chosen to do this. One of my friends also, who is my best friend since school at 13, who happens, that's a different story in itself, he's the only person who knew I was gay. And we came out to each other, best friends, at 22. So and I've been friends, I know. We were suspicious of each other, but never, that's how much in denial or how much we thought we'd both from the same place. They live in the same place, Dennis and Claire. Anyway, so I had to tell Dad, and I could tell he didn't know what to do. He just kind of walked off or whatever. And I was talking to them, my friends came down or whatever, and talking to them. And even though this was going on, so I was devastated that this obviously wasn't working out perfectly, I was just like, I'm out of here. So I packed my bags. I mean, I said, we're all out. Obviously, you're not staying. I'm going. And I went back and talked to my mum. And I knew that they'd be okay. They just needed time because they were genuinely shocked. So I had to you have to appreciate, I didn't tell them something. So a lot of it's on me. Maybe if I just told them years and years ago, they probably would have just, so they had to deal with this shock. So I said, I'm just going. Got on a flight or landed in Dublin. And it was like, even though I'm worried about I told my brother my parents had talked to my brother actually on the phone at this point. And then I met up with him in Dublin, in town, went straight into town. I've never felt so free in my life. Even though I knew this was going on, I knew it would be okay with my parents because they hadn't banished me. They just said, we need just a minute to think about this.
Process.
I went out with Shane, my best friend. He'd come out, I'd come out. It was like, we could do anything. Mm-hmm. I could do anything. Met Paul, and now he was the person, my brother. I have one brother who's a year and a half older. And said, oh yeah, you heard about the drama, did you? He said, yeah. I said, so I'm gay. And he was like, obviously. He was like, come on, to joke me. So went out with Shane, had the best night of our lives, went to the George for the first time in my life because I was that fearful. I'd never actually gone to a gay club at 23 years old. Had an amazing night, quit my job the next day in the bank, registered in Maynooth University or applied for their media studies degree because I said, you know what? I'm going to be a presenter. I'm going to be whatever I want to be because actually, why am I living this life? And then I'm telling you, coming out changed. And then, of course, talked to my parents on the phone. They were great. They came home, we had lunch. everything was, they just needed that minute. Because I was so shocked that they were shocked, though.
Did your dad
this is
hug
somebody
you?
who bought the Bodyguard soundtrack and blasted it for a year, singing and in the worst, like I can't sing. This is somebody who like was camper than camp. I
What
think
is
I'm
our
actually
song
very
playing
young
again?
kid looking back. I obviously masked it then when I became a teenager, but I was quite a camp kid. Like when Paul would say, my brother would even say something like, "They're so camp." So they always just didn't see it or chose not to see it. I don't know, but everything was fine with them in the end. But I tell you, it literally, my life changed there because it went bang, bang. Because I had the confidence. Because I actually went, well, now you're out. So you don't have anything to worry about anything finding out about anything about you. So you can just be me. So I can be the best presenter or whatever I choose to do. So yeah, so I just went for it. And then.
Did your dad hug you? How did he, when he finally
Yeah,
processed?
we actually hug quite a lot as a family. So I
Great.
don't know whether he hugged me on
per se.
that day that I left. It's kind of like, it's slightly that after that, once I was going, was kind of a bit blurred.
Yeah.
But I think, as I say, like he's a Zambian man who's grown up in a culture that it's such a contradiction. And he's a very modern person. And they're the best ever now. Do you know what I mean? It's like they're unbelievably supportive parents. So I got very lucky with our parents. But it's, I was so surprised that they were
and some don't get as lucky with their parents.
And of course, that's why I feel so lucky, because all I had was the few days of shock, but that was genuine shock. So that's not, to me, that's not a problem for me, because they didn't know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They actually, I masked it so well.
Because of your flamboyancy as a person, your communication skills, which you didn't realize you had at the time, just here I am having a great time. I'm living my life.
Yes.
And your parents just accept it. It's Sean.
Exactly.
Until you go,
and then
by the way.
Yeah. And then they realized, they were so shocked I quit my job and did all, like, applied for this court. They're like, but they went along with it because they go, they kind of very quickly went, oh, I get it. You're going to now be you.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
You haven't been able to be.
So this card, the industry welcome. When you first started in the business, did being gay feel like an asset that you could open up about? Or did you feel that you had to stay in the closet just to get the job? That's interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting. It's a hard one. I think after, because it took me so long to come out, I went into this career after coming out. I think I did decide quick enough along the way that I have to be me now, because I'm not going to be able to do it if I'm not open, and I can't be stressing about people finding out you're gay or whatever. Now, I think in the times of I was living in would probably be very different for you, because and I was applying for jobs that were like entertainment industry. Like, do you know what I mean? My biggest dream was to be an expose, which is the fashion music, you know? So, of course, who cares to the point if you're gay, especially as a presenter? But for you, what was it like?
I think at the time, when you went into the theatre, whatever genre it was just a given that, he must be one of them, you know?
Oh, right, okay.
It was definitely a given, because when I look back at the history of theatre in Dublin, particularly in the Gaiety theatre, because of my association with it, like there was a lot of gay people there, and even in the Gate, Hilton Edwards and all that, there's a huge history. So it was a given, you're on stage, so you're a bit different. But, and yes, there was that whole, I'm just me on stage, but not outside that stage door. When you'd go out at the stage door, you're like, you're grand, you just keep walking. Or you try to man up a bit rather than be a big camper, because of society and faggot, queer, all those horrible words. But to be accepted in society, you weren't accepted. You were known to be different. Because it was lovely to hear you talk about going into TV, expose and all that. Going, here I am, I'm me, and accept me as I am, as a presenter. I've done my degrees, and let's graft more. That only came to me, would you believe, at the age of 50.
Wow.
And I'll never forget this. I talked about this recently on some press calls I did for a TV thing I was part of. And I remember saying to this journalist, the change of my life began at 50. I lost my dear mother 3 weeks or 4 weeks before my 50th birthday. And I had it was the only time I celebrated, to say, a 50th birthday, with some people in my life, had a celebration. And my whole life changed because it was the first time in my life I was on my own. I was literally on my own. So I had to navigate a different path. The person that I loved dearly, who looked after me, who nurtured me, who was there 24/7, had just passed. And I was at her bedside, all that. I was navigating grief. I was navigating a great loss.
Yeah.
And also a new beginning on my own. So therein lies that how you go. I just had to get on with it. But in the back of my mind, she was always there behind me. Grant, keep finding your way, finding your path, finding your tribe. Finding your tribe. And my tribe was big at the time, but now it's just condensed to a small group of people. And I've never, since that time, 50 that is, and I'm 66 now, and I've never been as happy over that period of time and accepting of me.
Yeah.
And if people aren't accepting of me, I accept that. I get that. That's fine. And that's their issues. That issue's not with me. Okay? And they mightn't like me for whatever reason. I'm not taking that into my space.
That's your problem.
Did I before? I did, Sean. But it's not my problem anymore. That's your problem. And I'm sorry you feel like that. And I accept that. And that's why nowadays I couldn't be more outgoing, assertive, positive, accepting I got the gig, I didn't get the gig, I'm doing fine, move on, keep moving, keep going.
Yeah.
But taking time out for me as well.
Yeah.
Taking time out for me to stop, which I did recently. And it was just time to breathe and enjoy the space around you.
Yeah.
And it's lovely to hear your end and my end being so different that it took me so long to get there. But it took me so long to get there. By the time I got there, I'd had so much knowledge to hold on to and move forward. And I still have a lot to give and a lot to do and a lot to get. But I'm a true believer, if it's for you, it won't pass you.
I believe in that. I say that all the time. Yeah, I really believe in that. And it sounds like the advice of your mother stays with you and helps you
Constantly.
Yeah, which is the same. It's like my mum gave me, I go to her for advice. A lot of my friends go to my mum for career advice, especially. But so many times, even when I did the expose show, I did a TV show to do the expose show, and I'd already done a movie show on TV, which was cancelled at a certain time. So I was devastated. And I remember going, my dream job is expose, and now they're doing a reality TV show to get a job in expose. But I don't want to ruin my career by doing a reality TV show and then to edit me into some joke, and then I never get a job again. And my mother said, why don't you apply for it? And if they offer it to you, then you can make a decision. But if you haven't got a job and your dream job is there, I wouldn't rule it out straight away. I'd go for it. So I went for it because of that advice. And then I luckily won that show and got the job. But I don't think I would have gone. So many times in my life, I've gone to her for advice on bits and pieces. And she's always on them. You know what I mean? And sometimes I wonder, we talk about all this resilience we get from growing up different. But you do get so much strength and resilience probably from your parents or from whoever is there at home. Do you know what I mean? You learn from them, because actually, think about it, both my parents are very strong people, independent people.
It's called thinkers. The knowledge of life.
Yeah.
You have to jump over so many hoops and to get through an awful lot to get to a stage in your life where you go, this is fine.
Yeah.
This is grand. So the knowledge that your mum had, she had her path and her journey. And I know I talk an awful lot about my mother, but my dad he was the stalwart of the family. He got up at the crack of dawn. He went to work. It was a one-income family. So I'm not putting him on the periphery. He had a different role to play, where my mother was that strong woman looking after 5 children under the age of 5.
Yeah.
She was an amazing woman.
Yeah.
And that's why people would say, why are you so assertive? Why are you so confident? Because there's a lot of crap behind here to get here.
Yeah.
And as you've alluded to, before you make that decision, you went to your mother. Go for it. You have nothing to lose.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the industry I'm in. I have a wonderful agent sending you for casting. Do the interview, do the audition. I take everything. Because it's information, and it makes you stronger for the next job.
Of course. Absolutely. And I'm thinking about it now. My parents are very different, and I give me so much advice, emotional advice now too. And I'm realizing, I think as we're talking, my dad is obviously a black man who moved to Dublin when he was 20, and met my mother shortly afterwards. So my mother married a black man, so their interracial couple would have been rare in Dublin.
Yeah.
So she had to cope with being different,
absolutely.
and he obviously had to cope with being different. So they spent their life being different. So that's obviously why maybe they give good advice about coping with being
and
different.
also, in hindsight, the reaction from your father to you coming out wasn't necessarily a personal vendetta to you or anything like that. It was him dealing with, I've been different all my life. I've been dealing with society. He was looking out for you, going, how will you cope now? Because what I've gone through.
That's exactly. I know what he was doing. He was mapping out the next 50 years in his head,
wasn't he?
And he was going, this person's going to have a very lonely, sad life, because who knows? And I suppose what it meant back then, or from where he was coming from, was, what are you going to do? Like, you know what I mean? He never in a million years pictured me married with a kid at 45 years old.
Yeah.
He did not in any way see that in the future. He saw me probably destitute, lonely on the side of the road.
And I think that's where society and this wonderful country of ours has come to the fore, has just gone out there to the world going, here we are.
Yeah.
We're all married. We all have kids. We all can be married.
Yeah.
We can all have kids. We're not going to be judged by this. So we can live our lives in the way we choose to do.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what's great about this country.
Flipping the switch when life is heavy behind the scenes, how do you find the energy to flick that on switch and give the audience exactly what they expect? Which I think would be harder for you doing live shows all the time. You know, well, a lot. Do you know what I mean? A lot of your career, like a lot of the stuff I do is pre-recorded. Some of it's live, but you know what I mean. Live is different. You have to be in that exact moment there and on.
I'm very spiritual, and I'd be very Zen. So I was reared as a Roman Catholic, and I'd say I've lapsed from that. Will I go back to that? I don't know. But what I do is I will go into a church and Zen out. I light a candle, and I have my time up the back of the church, somewhere nice and quiet. And I do that a lot. But I had cancer about 8 years ago. And I was diagnosed, when I was diagnosed that would have been February, yeah. And I kept that very quiet for my own sanity, because it was something that I knew nothing about.
Yeah.
I was also doing some jobs. There were also jobs and contracts that I cancelled. And as a jobbing self-employed actor, I'll never forget doing this, cancelling two contracts with my agent, explaining, you'll be able to manage, I know, but I want to. And the reason I did that was I thought methodically and sensibly. In order to deal with the cancer, you can't be working, can't be learning lines, the stress of that going, you will manage. So I put all that aside, and I went through February, March, April, May, June, July, August, say 6.5 months of radium treatment, chemo tablets, treatment. And
And you weren't telling people?
I told no one. I told one or two confidants because I needed to psychologically. And that's the way I dealt with it until it came to September. The Gaiety were on to me. I met them. I talked to them about it. And Caroline Downey was fantastic and my management team in there. And I said, I'm still doing the Panto and I will be fine. Aladdin, it was Aladdin then. So I announced through the Irish Cancer Society, they asked me to be an ambassador. I said, fine, we'll do it. And I told Caroline, I'm going to announce. She said, great, off you go. And I went on and I did that Panto that year. And I did 98 performances. I went to some treatment between shows. There was one morning I took all the makeup off really fast. I was rushing and it was covered in glitter. And I remember getting into the taxi to go to Vincent's private for some treatment. And the taxi man, Jesus, son, you're starting the Christmas season early. I was sparkling. Do I look good? Jeez, you look great, son. Jesus, where are you going to? And I got to the hospital and they weren't ready for me. So I waited, as you do. And I could see people looking at me, like going, and I had mascara, like going, what the fudge is he on? Like, Jesus. So this male nurse said, Joe, come on, we have you ready. And they check your weight and your height and your blood pressure and in treatment. And it was just reviews and stuff. So the girls, you get to know these people quite well, and they trust you. You just part with them, and it's great. I said, okay, I'm just off stage. Going, what? Yeah, I was just doing a show. I'm in Panto. I have to go back. I know you're a bit behind, but is there any way you can rush me? I said, yeah. Man, what's all this? I'll explain that. So all the oncology team and the nurse are going, have a look at Joe. Obviously, someone said, when you see Joe, and they're passing, hi, Joe. Hi. Look, hi. There's a lot of highs. And anyway, back in taxi, back to work. And Paulie McCall, my dresser in the theatre, always had a cup of tea ready. I'm on the way, had a rest, had a bite to eat. And I went on. And I did my job. It was my job.
Crazy.
A long way to get to the answer of the question. I did my job. And it was none of the public's business to know what I was going through, because they're going to the pantomime. They want to see Nana and the cast, and we all do a great job, curtain down, hopefully, and get on with it. So I didn't want to be defined by, do you hear about Nana up or not? No. The show goes on. Curtain goes up, the curtain comes down.
But were you ever not, was there ever a moment during those 98
Yes, there was.
shows where you went, oh my God, I wish I could go back and say I'm not doing it this year?
Yeah.
You know?
There were a few times where I was tired.
You must have been exhausted.
And I said it to Pauline. I said, Pauline, I'm just feeling tired. Are you all right? She said, no, I'm grand, but I'm just tired. And without all that, you do get tired because you need to look after yourself.
Yeah.
But one of the oncology teams, the head of the department, Jared McVeigh, the oncologist in Vince's private, he was coming to the Panto. And so let me know when you're in. If you want to do meet and greet, we can arrange with the team. Yeah, great. And he came in and we met him later and he goes, sweet Jesus, Joe, like, what are you on? Grant, are you? I said, Grant, he was in shock because I was bombing around like Nana and hello, Aladdin, whatever, in a frock changing. And it was a busy show for me. And he couldn't get over it. But it's also that definition of plowing through, getting on with the job, and allowing yourself, I'm not great today. I'm really not good today. But I wasn't going to be defined by getting on with that. He's cancer. And when my father passed, I had to go on stage. I was taken off stage when my dad died. They called the theatre and said, Joe, you need to go to the hospital. And I had to leave that theatre and go to the hospital. My father passed, and the day he was buried, I went back on stage.
The day he was buried, you went back on stage.
Yeah, I was in a different show. It wasn't Panto.
Okay.
And I remember the production manager saying, Joe, we've just got a call. You need to go to the hospital to your dad. I said, no, I'll be fine. I'm grand. What's the interview? And they were quite persistent. Said, you need to go. And by the time I got there, he was on his last moments, and he died the following morning. And he had to go on stage. So you do have to. It's not that you get thick-skinned. Going, okay, you find a place of resilience and peace. To find peace with that, you have a job to do. Yeah.
And is there any therapy in it? Because you're doing these things, you're obviously plowing through. Is there anything by doing it? Is it a distraction from your father dying, or is it a distraction from all the chemo you're going through, or is it just actually, no, I have to do it because I'm a believer in the show must go on?
I'm a believer the show must go on, but I'm not a believer in going, you can't just, the show must go on. You have to look after yourself. I do look after myself mentally as well and take care of myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will we go for another one?
Yeah. Building the platform was the returning point where you felt a responsibility to start standing up for others, whether in the community or people facing their own health battles. That's a great question.
Yeah. Was there a turning point? I don't know if there was a turning point. I remember I wanted to be very, as I say, I'd come out. So when I started my career in media, I was going to be out because I definitely wanted that representation that didn't seem to exist when I was young, when you look around and don't see anybody who's gay or whatever. And I remember one of the things that happened was when we got married, myself and Chris, actually civil partnered, which to me was our wedding. We did a magazine said, do you want us to do the pictures for your wedding and do a spread? And I was like, oh, that would be good. It'd be amazing. Like, we would be on the cover of a magazine as a gay couple. You don't see it very often. Do you know what I mean? A gay young couple. It's a long time ago. So on the cover magazine. And I remember saying to Chris, and Chris, my other half, isn't, he works in radio, but he doesn't, he's business side. Yeah. So he doesn't do all the show busy stuff, right? So he's no interest. So I was like, will we do this? And he's like, oh, I don't really want to do that. Because we don't do many shoots, things like that. No. But I said, I think actually it's really important. That we do this, because it's not like us, we're going out for dinner, or I'm doing a new TV show, so let's do a spread. It's actually us on the cover of a magazine that everybody in every Easton, biggest airport, even if they don't buy magazines, they're going to see two men on the cover. And this is before marriage, remember? Marriage, we had a civil partnership. So, and because of that, he agreed to it, and we did it. And it was great. And I just remember walking in to the shops and going, isn't that amazing? Not because it's me, but I can't imagine when I was a teenager, if I walked into a shop and saw the wedding, like it was impossible. Just, you know what I mean? It just wouldn't happen because there was no civil partnership and there was no marriage. So there was no weddings in magazines or on the cover of them. I just thought it was the most amazing thing ever. I was so glad Chris agreed to do it. I don't think he's ever done shoots.
But he did the important one.
He did the important one. Yeah. And there's things sometimes you have to, he would realize you have to be vocal and be, representation is everything, whether it's for black people, brown people, or gay people. I definitely feel it's important to be there and be present. And Chris doing that was a big deal. So that's one thing we did together. That was great. The path taken. If you could start over, would you trade your journey for a life in today's more open world, or did you actually need that harder path to become who you are today?
Oh, the harder path.
Yeah.
Because it has defined me as a person. And going back to what I said about turning 50 and trying to find that path of being on your own and your new tribe, I'd never change it, because it is the person that I am today. Was it easy? Oh, sweet Lord Jesus, no, it was not. It was not. But to be able to stand up and go, what's the problem? I have a voice here. Listen to my voice. Whereas a young kid being battered by the Christian brothers, and I'd never change. No, I would not. And I'm the measure of the man that I am today. And I'm grateful for it. Yeah.
I'd agree. Harder path. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think as much as today it's way easier to be in school and be open and be out. It did. I don't know where. I don't think I'd be doing. I don't know where I'd be if I wasn't. And also, it's a different world today. If I was starting out in media, it's a whole. Yeah. It's a social media. It's a whole different game. Yeah. Whereas you had to, work hard. I just was go to get the gig. And definitely.
And I'm not
100%.
talking about materialism. I'm talking about your voice
Yeah.
and the individuality of that voice to be heard and to be assertive and positive. Yeah, I wouldn't change it at all.
Okay. I'll give you question 11. Thank you. I think
The one truth for anyone out there still finding their voice, what's the one truth you've learned that can help them finally stand up and say it with pride? That is a great question, isn't it?
it is a great question. It's a hard question. The one truth. God, the one truth is the truth, though, isn't it? It's like,
It is. The
if
truth.
you can, and some people can't, like I do sometimes have to check myself and know, not everybody has the luxury of coming out and being themselves. It's a
No.
luxury I had and was able to do and then be me. But it is the one thing, the truth will set you free, is what they say. And it set me free big time. So the one truth is be much you as you possibly can. And I don't, if you're in a position where that's impossible, maybe contact someone for help, or talk to
Yes,
friends, or
yeah.
find
to
one
friends.
person that maybe you can talk to in your life about it, because
I think behind that word truth is honesty. Truth and honesty. Truth and honesty about you. You don't have to explain yourself. Just be
Yes.
true to you.
yes,
And then you'll find out who your tribe is,
yes,
who the real people are in your life.
and sometimes you have to go and find your tribe. You have to face that harsh truth of, maybe I have to leave the people I'm currently around and just leave and just start again, or find my tribe
And refresh.
and refresh.
Yeah.
because-
And I think you're right. What you say is there are people out there that you can now talk to.
Yes,
That if you can't feel you can share, you can't share with your group. Going, okay, there's numbers, there's contacts. Just make that
and
move.
there's organizations belong to all these the places that you can find somebody to talk to, even though if there's nobody in your peer group, your family, whatever it is, there's always somebody.
Truth and honesty. Just go with it. And you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
You're true to yourself.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, this has been absolutely a great chat.
It has,
Joe,
hasn't
hasn't
it?
it?
I've thoroughly enjoyed
It's
it.
so nice to meet you after so many years
Thank
seeing
you
the
for your
Panto.
time. This is great.
It's been brilliant. And I look forward to what's ahead, because you're getting very dramatic now. I know you have all sorts of roles coming up.
Yes, I'm going to the other side.
Yeah. Watch this space.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Say It With Pride. A special thank you to all our guests who took part in this series and shared their stories. Visual design and video edit by Stephen O'Farrell and Connor Daly. Music courtesy of Audio Network. Developed and produced by series producer Adam Murphy-Dunn. Executive producers Sasha Hamrogue and Paul McGregor. Say It With Pride is an Onic original podcast.